Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever and whenever you are watching this edition of Crossy's Corner. I have with me the amazing Jess Leyden, European champion and double world bronze medalist. Hi, Jess.
Hello.
Now, you have got a fantastic blue sky behind you, a sensational view. It's certainly bluer than the sky outside my window at the moment. Just tell us where you are.
We're currently on training camp in Portugal in a place called Aviz. It's like a hotel that caters for rowing teams, really. And they have everything you could really want for a rower. Very spoiled out here.
Can you tell me how could a hotel make money just catering for rowing teams? I mean, do you have any guests out there, or is it just rowers?
They have had a few, especially as the teams got a bit smaller. Like usually we used to fill the whole thing, but yeah, we've had a few people. I think a couple of cyclists and things.
Yeah. So tell us what's so special. You've mentioned the hotel, and I know the hotel looks lovely. You've kindly shown me around that really nice eating area. What's so special about the environment that you train on?
So actually, an ex Portuguese lightweight set up the hotel with a business partner. I think in 2009 or 2008. And so he kind of set it up with rowing teams in mind, so knows everything you would need. And then he has an amazing stretch of water where you can go three different directions. I think it used to be a river that was like cut off, so you can go like 22k in one direction and back, another 10k another direction and back, and the 12k another direction and back. So a
Oh,
lot
wow.
of water to keep to keep us occupied and not getting too bored, and lots of the wind changes, so like you can always find somewhere to go where it's not
That's
too
nice.
too bad. Yeah.
What's the longest session you've done so far?
We did 26k with pieces in the other day. Yeah.
With pieces. Oh, that sounds like a little testing session. How tough was that?
Yeah, it was pretty hard. 10 2k time pieces in.
Oh, you're joking. What? That's sort of low ratish, I guess.
Yeah. It was good though. It's making us tough.
Yeah, and what boat are you doing them in? Singles, doubles, or quads?
We're in a mixture at the moment of doubles and quads out here, but when we get home, we'll be in singles.
Oh, yeah, ahead of the trials.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a favourite doubles partner, or is it like I've just got love for everybody that I row with?
Yeah, definitely the second option. Everyone's
Ah,
great. No, genuinely. I think we're all just trying to row the same and just stick to what Andrew's kind of set out for us. So we're all just trying to head in the same direction at the moment.
yeah. Um, so it's not like, super fast single sculler Lola Anderson put me in a double with her and I'm got a big smile on my face. Nothing like that.
Not at the moment. I mean, you obviously find it easy with some people you've rowed with longer, but think we're all like pretty, like, we haven't been together for ages, so everyone's coming at a similar time, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting. And how often have you been out in the quad?
I think we're switching it up every few days, so just a couple of times. We've only been here 6 days, so yeah.
Yeah. It must be nice getting out in the bigger boat again, just to get a feel of it.
Yeah, sessions go a lot quicker.
That's for sure. How different is the sort of training that you do at Aviz to what you do at Caversham?
Not too different, to be honest. We just probably do a few more miles in total, and yeah, they just are able to add in a few more sessions because we're not traveling and we're not making our own. Like, there's just less to do in the day, so they can do more training in the day.
Yeah, yeah. And how many sessions do you do on the ergs, or gym sessions do you do?
Sorry. Um, I'm not sure. Well, probably at least one a day. Yeah,
Oh, you're
that
on
would
the
be.
erg once a day, even though you got that nice water.
No, or gym. gym or
Okay.
things like that.
Yeah. So I gather when you were at Caversham, you would do it, or you weren't at Caversham, because I know that you did spend some time off river working down at Longridge on the Marlow Ridge.
Yeah.
How's that been
Um,
for you?
yeah, as a lakes girl, it's not the most fun for me. My steering is not improving how I'd like. Yeah, it's good. I mean, with the close together sessions and things, and we're a bit spoilt with Caversham. We're getting used to, sitting in our cars quite a bit.
Yeah.
Or getting to Bisham, but yeah, we're getting used to it. It's been a lot better.
Yeah. And over those long distances, how are you in your single over the long distances? How competitive are you when you're out in your single against a group
Uh,
of other women?
I'm competitive in nature, but maybe not. I try my best. It
Yeah.
depends.
I was going to talk about it a little later on when we talk about ergs and things, but I just wonder, are you a faster sculler over a longer distance, low intensity, or are you a faster
Nah,
sculler over the 2K-ish sort of
I
shorter
prefer
distances?
short things now, I think.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
that's really good. Now, some of the thing to do with training is how often do you guys do competitive training? Um, so
Yeah.
where you might put yourselves against each other head to head, whether it's kind of UT2 work or whatever. How often do you
Um,
find yourself doing that type of work?
yeah, these days it's like pretty most days, to be honest. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, it's good. It gets you race ready. You're not afraid of, if you can do that every day against your teammates, and a 2K race against anyone else is easy. That's
yeah.
what we found last year.
I get that, and one of the interesting things. So I was talking last week to Constantine Laludis, who of course you all know quite well, and he was saying that at Oxford, Sean Bowden had very set limits for a person's pulse rate that they would train at. And I think in one of the things he was saying was that I think in some senses this related to work on the erg as much as on the water, but he was saying it was kind of wrong that I should have the same erg as he was talking about in 2012 as a 19-year-old compared to Greg Searle, who's a 40-year-old, compared to Andy Hodge, who's in his prime. How do you reconcile the competitive nature with, wanting to beat someone with your pulse range?
I think, you've always got to make sure that you are within your levels in terms of like being able to recover and things for the next day. But I think, I don't know, on the water, you want to be, as efficient as possible, and everyone at this level is efficient and fit. So I
Yeah.
don't know, you just got to get yourself up there.
Yeah, I really get the sense of being competitive, and so when it comes to 2K racing, you're in the best possible position you could be psychologically and physically. Um, how much has that sort of development in training impacted the squad since Andrew Randell came along?
I think massively, yeah. I think you race every day, no matter what state you're in. So then, you'll never come to racing at your worst, like in your racing feeling your worst, because you've already done it in training, lots of times. So it was, yeah, really big, really massive change. It was good.
Did it surprise you at all doing that sort of focus?
I think it probably surprised me less than most, because Tomo, Paul Thompson was like quite similar in a lot of ways, and yeah, a few years ago. So yeah, that it wasn't like a massive stark. It was just a big change from what had gone on in the kind of Olympic and pre-Olympic year kind of thing.
Yeah. And any interest in? I suppose coaches change their training programs year on year, or they look for little developments. And I know you might not want to talk about specific changes, but have there been any little tweaks and changes to the program this year that you've noticed from last year?
I don't know because we didn't have Andrew at this point
Of
last year.
course you didn't, did you?
So that was a good sidestep. I'm joking.
That was a brilliant. That's a super swerve. That is a super swerve. Yeah. How many women have you got out there challenging for seats? I guess in the quadruple.
Yeah, I think we've got 8 heavyweight scullers, but then there's obviously people from outside and people at home and stuff like that. So at the moment out here we have 8, but there's loads. Yeah, there's a lot of people.
Yeah, and how much do you feel the kind of how much do you feel the sort of competition element? I guess from what you're saying, it's pretty much every day you feel the competition element.
Yeah, but I don't think you're thinking about the outcome every single day, because then you could just get stressed and swallowed up by it. You're always just like, at the end of the day, it comes down to how fast you are in a few months' time. But yeah, you're trying to use the everyday competition to get yourself better.
Well, let's look at last season a little bit, and maybe you might be able to give people an idea of what it is that a British horsewoman or sculler has to do to get themselves in that British women's quadruple scull, which was the top boat. So I guess it had priority over other boats.
I think like coaches select at the start of the season with that kind of idea, but then you see how the season develops over World Cups and Europeans, and if people are going well in their own right, then it doesn't hold the same hierarchy all the time. So I don't know. I think all our women's scullers had pretty decent results across the board. So yeah.
But is it like if you get in the top 4 of the singles trials, that's like big tick, you're in the quad? Or is it that, well, actually, you've got to perform in a doubles matrix, or you've got to kind of
I think it definitely helps, yeah. But it definitely helps. And if you're obviously massively fast, then but then there will always be a doubles matrix after.
And how much weight does that have in selection relative to single speed, do you think?
I don't really know.
Really?
Well, I think it has I don't know.
Yeah.
I just try and go as fast as I can, and wherever they put me, they put me. And if they don't put me, they don't put me.
Yeah, I get that completely. Is that something, I guess there are some things that you will ask coaches and talk to coaches about, and some things that you just won't kind of bother with, because obviously your focus is to go as fast as you can in whatever you've put. So I'm guessing that's not necessarily a conversation that you'll have had with Andrew.
No, they kind of outline it and say this is what we're targeting, and then tell you when the races are, and you turn up and they use the results how they obviously, if they want the fastest crew, you've got to trust that they want the fastest people in it, and you've got to try and make yourself one of the fastest. Yeah.
So I guess last season you got yourself into that quadruple scull, which must have been great for you, because you'd had there's a lot of years, if you look at your racing record on World Rowing, there's a kind of big gap between 2019 and 2022 with that first World Cup 1. How did that feel coming back into racing?
It just felt good. I mean, I love racing. I've been doing it. I've been racing, with juniors since I was 15 and things like that. So it wasn't like a massive deer in the headlights. It was just like happy to be back, happy to have the opportunity again, and try my best and see where we were.
What did you expect going into that 2022 season?
I think my focus had kind of, I just learned, my focus has kind of changed since 2019 a lot. I've changed as a person, I've changed. So I think, I'm here because I love the sport, and I love rowing. So that's why I'm still here. And I was just leaning into that, enjoying myself.
That's really interesting what you just said. And I was kind of going to talk about the whole 2019 and 2020 stuff a little bit later, but I'm fascinated just to hear you say a little bit more about that kind of change, how that might come about, and what you actually mean by that.
Yeah, I think it's difficult. I mean, I was going well, but then, we qualified in 2019. It was a difficult few years. We managed to qualify, and then we went through obviously a difficult time with the pandemic and everything for everyone. I caught COVID pretty badly, managed to get myself back, and then, I don't know, things went up the Swanee for me a bit. And then, I just really took a step back and looked at what was important to me as a person, and, put happiness and family and things like that. And obviously where I want to be as a person when I finish rowing as well. And also my interests outside of rowing. So I went and got a job as a structural engineer in a really cool company in Henley, which so that just made me really happy and felt really stable, and felt like I was moving my life on outside of rowing as well. This was while the Olympics was happening, and made me kind of consolidate that I will be okay. I've got cool things that I want to do after, and I'm not missing anything or losing anything by keeping doing what I enjoy in rowing and things like that. So I still work part-time we're called Centre Space Design. They're really supportive, taught me loads about structural engineering, because I've wanted to be a structural engineer since I was like 12, 13, so like way before rowing. And just to like kind of check that I actually wanted to do that as a job as well was pretty cool. So yeah, kept training throughout. So I'd do like a session before work the whole day, session after work, for a few months, for quite a long time. And then rowing started getting better again, and I was showing some speed, so kind of came back to the team more and more and more. And yeah, I feel like I've got a good balance of it at the moment.
That's a remarkable story, Jess, and I'm very struck by the energy in your voice when you talk about being a structural engineer. That was almost the longest period since we've been chatting that you've spoken for. You clearly have an absolute love for that. I'm guessing that it's interesting to look at the pattern that shapes somebody's life, and you wouldn't wish COVID on anybody in your wildest dreams. Is there any sense that you kind of not necessarily pleased that that's what happened, but you're kind of grateful for the opportunities that it gave you, or is there still a sense that you missed out on something big in Tokyo?
It's hard because I think in a lot of ways this has been the best thing for me, because it's probably, I don't know, it's a really difficult question, because you can never say, like, you can't look back with hindsight and things like that. But yeah, I mean, either way, I feel like it was a dream that didn't happen for me, that I've been working together for a very, very long time. But then again, I don't think I'd have got it to a medal, but I mean, but then I did work, it was a big knock, and I did work really hard to look for opportunities and make opportunities happen for myself. So I don't know, it's like, It's hard.
Um,
But yeah, I feel very lucky I managed to find the people in the company that I did as well. I think
can
that was
you?
luck rather than.
Oh, right. I'm always fascinated when someone ascribes something that they do to luck. I'm sure there must have been some element of you and and your perseverance and determination and things like that involved in it. Um, I was wondering because people go through difficult points and challenges. When they're trying to combine rowing or a job, or even if you're listening to this and you're not a rower, what kind of qualities helped you? What kind of qualities could you draw on?
Um, I think a lot of like what obviously my mum has shaped me massively.
Mm,
Um, she's kind of a very much don't feel sorry for yourself, get up, brush yourself down, and crack on kind of person. Yeah, I mean, my dad passed away when I was very young, and it was a big
oh, I'm so
surprise.
sorry.
And I was rowing at that time. I was 15, and my mum just, it wasn't. I was still went to school. I still went to rowing. I still like did everything I needed to do, like my GCSEs, everything. Like life didn't stop. It
Mm,
was very much like nothing's going to be an excuse. You crack on. And I feel like throughout, she's just my mum's an incredibly strong woman. Um, Definitely won't mess with her. Yeah, she's a grafter as well, and that's just how I've been brought up.
yeah. Um, I'm just wondering, in terms of British rowing, or in terms of any of your friends, were there any people that particularly supported you through that time that helped you? I don't know, access some of those qualities or make some decisions.
I feel like, obviously my partner, Adam, he just lets me, do anything you want to do, anything you need to do, and, life carries on. And when I didn't make it, I was really worried about also like, your family and stuff, letting them know and things, but they were just so supportive, like, didn't care at all.
Yeah,
Like, I think the people that know you just know, don't they? So you don't need to explain or say anything. Um, they know who you are and what you are and how good
yeah.
you are at something. So it doesn't, yeah, what comes out of it doesn't matter to them.
I wonder if how willing you're just to talk about that sense of what it was like to have COVID. Um, and
Um,
was it just that you had COVID, you had symptoms, and then it was just a sense of your performances just weren't there, and you couldn't understand why, or was it?
so I got COVID at Christmas. So it was Christmas 2019. So the vaccine was nowhere to be seen on all of that. So,
Mm,
and I hadn't gone to the north, home to the north, because I was like, I don't want to catch COVID.
yeah.
And we stuck to all the rules, and we only saw Adam's mum, um, and she basically, her partner had gone to work, and someone at his work had already lied about having COVID
Oh no.
months before. And so when it came to around Christmas time, he had COVID again, but couldn't say that he actually had COVID.
Mm,
So then that's how we ended up getting it, like a kind of chain of
yeah, yeah,
reaction. And then they obviously got found out and fired, but it was already kind of too late. But we had COVID like so badly. I've never ever been as ill or
oh
will
really?
ever be as ill. No,
Right.
I couldn't even do the washing up
Oh
in a
wow.
day. Like we were absolutely wiped. I had no sense of smell, taste, or anything.
Yeah.
Um, Adam's mum and partner were in a bad way. Like she basically called him and was like, "I'm going to hospital. Like these are the people you need to call if I don't make it out," kind of thing.
My
We were
God.
stuck. Like couldn't. It was really awful. And so yeah, I think But also, we only went there because Adam's mum was upset that his grandma couldn't go, and they decided not to go. So it was like, and she only has one lung, so it was almost like, well, at least
Oh
we got
my
it in a
goodness.
way. Like
Yeah, yeah,
it was a lot of things, but yeah. And then came back to training, like built up, but I built up to 2 sessions, but all I could do within that day was do my 2 sessions, and I'd have to sleep from the end of my second session until I'd wake up for my session the next day. And I
yeah.
was like, I'm happy to do that, that's fine, I don't care, like it's Olympic year, like I'm nearly there. And the Anne Redgrave was just like, no, you have to be able to live your life. You can't just
Yeah.
do that. So then I had to pull back and go back to square one again, like nothing again. So, and I managed to get myself back up and stuff. Got diagnosed with long COVID, but then kind of did loads of tests to say I hadn't got it. So that was good. But I think I just built back a bit too late for selection and things like it was just too late by the time I could do much. So yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's an amazing story. I'm sitting here in awe of, of you navigating your way through that, and particularly with what you achieved last year as well. It is a fantastic story, Jess. Really want to give out, big tribute to what you've achieved.
Thank you.
That's sensational. So I'm guessing. I'm guessing. One thing I wanted to ask you, in terms of structural engineering, what are you working on? Like, in terms of, do you do designs for buildings, or what is it that you do?
Yeah, so it's like the architect comes up with what it'll look like, and the concept with the client and things like that, and then we're like the next stage after that of what materials, what sizes, how it will fit together, all of that kind of thing. So it's that's all
So
that's everything is.
I guess that must be a real sense of achievement when you see something that you've contributed to being constructed.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I'm part of a company that really cares about like design and architecture and things like that. So we'll always look for like the highest and like best fit and best way of doing things for the look of and we get lots of different projects to do, which is really varied and things like that. We thing I got through this week that had just been finished, we did a charity project for a kindergarten in Zambia,
Yeah.
which was really cool, like seeing the kids out there. And then it was a partnership with an architectural company that's a charity that does projects all over the world. And this is just
Yeah.
one I worked on. And yeah, it was really exciting to like see the kids that are going to be learning in that kindergarten that I helped like do a part of the design for.
Wow. How does that compare with other women that you're working with? I know last year Saskia Budget, who was in the women's double scull last year, was doing her medical studies.
Yeah.
Is it generally, do the women have something else outside of their rowing, or is it mostly that, it's just you and Sass that have got those outside?
No. I think like Imogen is still studying and working
Yeah.
towards her medical degree. Meg was doing some coding kind of work and is interested in engineering as well now. A few people, like a lot of people have like personal training, like setting up their own personal training kind of companies and things like that. So
Yeah.
definitely keeping the brains going on our side, yeah.
And I guess having something extra during the Tokyo Olympics really helped for you to have a focus in terms of, I'm guessing, watching the games. It wasn't at the most convenient hour to watch. How was it watching for you?
Yeah, I think it was difficult. I think it was just a difficult time for me and just for British rowing as a general thing. So I think it's hard to like say, really, to be honest.
Yeah. It's a tough question. I feel like apologising for asking it. Actually, I tried to ask it in a nice way, saying you had to have a focus and whatever, but I'm not sure I did very well on that.
Oh no, I definitely cracked on with my own stuff. Like I got my motorbike license and
Are
things
you
like that.
kidding?
So I was having fun doing other stuff. Life didn't stop for me. Don't
Yeah.
worry.
What sort of do you drive a motorbike now then?
No.
Oh, I was glad. I was going to say, did your mum say, "What are you doing, Jess? You can't be driving a motorbike."
Mum was not happy with me.
I was going to say. I was going to say. So, are you a woman that would see herself riding a big sort of 900cc BMW or
Maybe.
something like that?
Who knows?
Yeah. Okay. Let's take a look at that 2022 season. You kind of went into it. I seem to recall you were doing a double up in the first World Cup in Belgrade. Racing in the quad, which I'm not sure got a medal, if memory serves, and racing in doubles. So how was that as an opener for you guys?
Yeah, I think it was good. Me and Lucy had never actually done a 2K race together till the heat of that race.
Are you kidding?
No, so the doubles were very much thrown together. But it was good. Andrew likes to double up sometimes. It gives him a good view on where competition is in each event and how we're going as a group. And also just I think it's a good training kind of thing for him, for us. So yeah, it was good fun. We managed to get the other double got a silver, we got a bronze, and then we came fourth in the quad. So I think it gave us from having no idea where we'd be, it's given us a bit of confidence, even though the first World Cup doesn't have a big turnout most of the time. It was still oh well, we weren't out the back end or anything.
Yeah. I think there were some good quads there. To be fair, I think there were quite a few quads that were in the finals, like the Chinese possibly, and was the Ukrainians there and the Dutch?
Yeah. So, there was quite a few good quads.
Yeah. So then the team elected to miss World Cup 2. I was trying to remember if you raced at Henley at all.
No, we didn't as a quad.
I kind of said, I was thinking, no, you didn't. So you came out the next time that you appeared was at Lucerne. Just talk us through your Lucerne experience in 2022.
It was good. We got a silver. We felt like we moved on from the first World Cup. We had Kyra in. And so, yeah, it was good to see that we could put a different quad out as well and get a good result.
Yeah, that was behind the Chinese?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you make of the Chinese? I mean, you've raced them a few times now.
Yeah, really good. Really good. Obviously, to put out consistent results at the top of the world like that, you've got to be pretty good. So, kind of want to beat them sometime.
Yeah. How do you get on? Do you get on? Is it just nods? Do any of them speak English, or is it? I
haven't chatted to them much, to be honest, but yeah, they seem nice enough.
Yeah. So we then come on from that Lucerne result, which you must have felt great about in terms of, like you say, a real step on from first World Cup in Belgrade to the European Championships, which I think for you was nothing short of sensational in terms of the kind of performance that you put out. I mean, is that overestimating what you were doing? Did it feel sensational?
I think it felt normal, as in we were rowing a normal kind of race, but it was a surprise that we were ahead. But I do feel like with competitions in the middle of the season like that, like the World Cups and Euros, you don't know what training blocks other countries have had and things like that. So, you can take confidence from it but also like know that, you know, at the Worlds it's all a different story and it's not necessarily going to go the same way.
Yeah, it's interesting because I can't imagine that you guys peaked for the Euros. You know, it's you must have been training up to or even through that. So
Yeah.
I know some of the other performances, like the Romanians, had a particularly good Europeans, and then of course people are saying, well, their funding is related to their results in the Europeans, so maybe they did have some kind of dip in training. But you beat, was it the Dutch that you beat by? I seem to remember at one point in the race you were like a length of clear water up on the Dutch.
I can't remember. We, yeah, had a good lead at points. Felt good, yeah. But I think, yeah, you're right. Some countries are dependent, so you don't know. But also, I think also the first year after the Olympics is also quite like not
Yeah.
everyone's back, who's going to be back, and things like that. So I think this year will be a different story again. Who knows?
Ah, that's interesting. Yeah, we'll have to talk about this year because obviously the season's getting underway. How was your pre-Worlds camp and your preparation for going to the Worlds at Rachice?
Yeah, felt good. Had a really fun time. Um, Probably saw more of the surround. Like we had time out as well, like being able to go see places, which was different and fun. So got to know everyone on the team pretty well and had just a good time.
That's interesting. So, tell us about the sort of places you went out to visit, where you were, and what you visited.
We had we went for a meal and stuff like that. It sounds really
Uh,
boring, but we
no,
don't tend to be
it
able to
doesn't.
go out much when you're in training camp.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um, we actually went to a water park for a day when we had the day off, which was crazy. I've never had
yeah.
24 hours off without being ill or injured before in training camp for the last 9 years. So that was fun. Everyone had
Where
a day
was
off.
where was the camp? Was that at Varese?
Yeah, so we had our work camp and pre-Worlds camp in Rosie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which I guess Andrew Randell knows very well from his
Yeah,
experience with the Australian team.
yeah, he has a lot
Um,
of friends.
yeah, I bet he does have a lot of friends. Seems like a really nice guy. How well do you guys get on with him? Is he a friendly sort of guy? What sort
Yeah,
of
definitely.
relationship do you guys have with him?
Yeah, he's a good laugh. He, obviously sets a hard program and expects like high standards, but also he's like pretty down to earth, and you can have a laugh with him, chat about anything.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
yeah,
good.
yeah. Is that right? You've done some mindfulness sessions.
Yeah, he's into that.
How have you found those?
Yeah, good. I mean, I did a lot of that. So when I had COVID, I was like, well, I can't move myself on in any other way, so I may as well try and do mindfulness and visualization and stuff. So
Ah,
I
okay.
explored a lot of that whilst I was very ill. So I've definitely, yeah, practiced it. It takes a lot of practice.
Yeah, yeah. Is that something you still keep up or you use as and when?
Feel like I use it as and when now, but I probably should do a bit more.
Yeah. I'm always fascinated with, with rowers and how they sort of develop themselves and look at different aspects. And I was talking to the bowman in the Dutch quad that won in Tokyo, Dirk Garden. He was quite a big advocate of mindfulness and being in the moment. So it's interesting to hear you say that. You talked about, really getting on well with the other women in the squad and so on. I think it would be great for you to just describe to us the people and the personalities of your quad, including yourself and your personality, which obviously people will get from watching this, I know. But do you think you could run through a little bit and tell us something about each of them, what they're like, and how
Okay,
they are to be with?
Got to be careful. Yes.
They might be I know they might be watching, but
So let's start with Lucy because she's at stroke. Lucy, great racer, loves a good race, loves training hard, good northern lass, likes to crack on with it too. From Warrington, very proud of it. Being from Warrington, we all got to stay at her house when we went to Spotty this year, and it was really good fun. What else? Lucy. Yeah,
why is
just
she in the stroke
easy
scene?
going. She really enjoys it. She likes to set up the rhythm, and she's pretty really reliable, like good technique. Yeah, she loves it.
And she's easy going.
Yeah, easy, definitely easy going and chill off the water.
Yeah, that's nice.
Georgie is also northern.
What's the theme here?
She's from Leeds. She's a very good laugh. She's came to rowing a bit later, like as in age, than the rest of us. But she's so strong, like incredible physiology and physically. She's very strong. Tries her best at everything, like picking up, like she's changed her technique so much over the last couple of years, just takes everything in, like has an amazing fiance that makes all the meals for her, and we're all very jealous. Does everything for her, but she doesn't like to say that.
That is true love.
They are very in love and very happy together. Have a van that they go travelling around in. And Lola, we shared a room the whole time. She's very good fun. She bossy in that she did all the calls. Slave driver, we used to call her, because we'd be like, "Oh, can we have a drink?" And she'd be like, "No, so let's go." And then loves a party, loves a dance, sings constantly, knows every word to every song I ever made.
Oh wow!
Yeah, very good laugh.
And how about yourself? How easy is it for you to describe yourself, Jess?
I don't know, not very. No. I don't know. I like to have a good time. I like to have a joke. Get bored easily if there's no one to mess around with or distract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't mentioned actually one of the things because you're actually wearing it. I know we talked about it just before we went live on air, but that beautiful jumper that you're wearing.
Yeah, I made this during lockdown. Yeah, I made a few things. Knitted a blanket, just taught myself to knit and crochet and macrame. I got bored during lockdown, so I learned how to do calligraphy. I don't know, not very good at it, but give it a go.
Are you kidding? Oh wow! And you mentioned Spotty. It sounds like that was an amazing time. You all stayed up at Lucy's house. How was the whole ceremony? Was that your first occasion that you've been there?
No, I've been there once before, but yeah, it was very good fun. We danced a lot and made a fool out of ourselves.
And who did you speak to that has is well known in the sporting world? You must have come across
some of the women's footballers, England footballers, Sabine as well, the manager, and that was good fun. I got a picture with Paddy the Baddie, but I don't know if many people are fans of him anymore. It was good fun. Yeah, got chatting to quite a few people.
Yeah, it's brilliant to be able to do things like that, isn't it? Because as you say, rowers are so focused on their training that to be able to let your hair down on those occasions just makes it really special. So my helper, my assistant, has just brought me in a nice cup of tea. So we were talking about the World Championships, and you came in there feeling good, feeling fast. You had a good first heat, I think, where you raced the Swiss, who were pretty decent quad. I know they had their troubles with COVID this season, but the Swiss really rate them and see them as, you know, potentially in there for a medal. How did the opening rounds feel?
Going a long way back now.
I
Yeah, I felt
know.
good. I think, as usual, you just try and avoid the rest.
Hmm.
Try and get through the rounds. Try and keep building race on race, and uh, just trying to improve your race plan and togetherness and things to the last minute, really. So yeah,
Mm.
I think we
And you
did
said
that well.
you did that well. You did well in the semi-final as well because you beat the Dutch again in the semi-final.
Yeah.
Um, you must have felt like you were flying there.
Yeah, it felt good. But obviously we still had the Chinese to come,
Yeah.
and yeah, you want to win. You want
Well,
to win the final. You want to win the race that matters.
I'm interested in that because I do remember saying in commentary in the Europeans, because I think, you know, I was generally pleased and surprised to see how far ahead of the Dutch you were in that race, and thinking, oh wow, where would the Chinese now be in that race? Surely, you know, if the Chinese were there, you'd be sat level with them. And sure enough, in the final, I think it was certainly in the second 500, you were pretty there or thereabouts with the Chinese.
Yeah, I think we wanted to push them as much as we could, and it was very much a conversation of, do we risk the silver to get a gold? And we did. And, you know, the Dutch did incredible and were so fast in that last bit. But we definitely used a lot of our beans through the middle to, you know, push the Chinese more than most people have pushed them in recent years. And we were pretty pleased with that. So we've definitely got a lot more to improve on, which we're looking to do. But it was a really good race, and we know we couldn't have done any more in that race, so we were happy with it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the second time that you won a bronze medal at a World Championships. How did the second time feel?
Yeah, good. I mean, a medal always feels great. It's better than fourth. Like being able to come in and celebrate is good. Always feels good. I don't know. We were really proud of ourselves in Sarasota as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, you can't really compare. Both felt great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Where'd you keep your medals?
I don't really do much with them. I know that sounds bad. I'm very much, when I'm a rower, I'm a rower, and when I'm not a rower, I'm not a rower.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
My mum has some of them, I think. I don't know.
Does she does she have your junior gold medal?
Yeah, I think so. I don't have it.
Do you not?
No,
I
I think
think
she must have it. I hope she has it.
I think if I well, my dad certainly had my gold medal. He used to, you know, zealously guard it and keep it around his house. And it was only when he
Yeah.
passed away that I kind of took it back into my possession. Um, what's it like being junior world champion at the age of, what were you, 17 or 18, in the single scull as well? The first British woman to have won a gold medal in that discipline. Was
Feel
that
like
right?
I've got a lot worse in my singles since then.
Oh God.
I feel bad I feel bad talking about it. Really slow compared to then. I think the singles very much for me. Like, I've got to be in it quite a bit to, you know. I think because I was in it so much as a junior, especially training at Hollingworth, it was like the boat I was trained in. I really got a good feel for it, and especially my last year at juniors, that year it really targeted it, you know. So yeah, it was
Um,
good to be able to do that with my coach Ian as well, because we
yeah.
were like, you know.
Do you want to say something about Ian? Because how does a lass from Hollingworth Lake get herself to be the best in the world in the juniors? How did that, when you look back on it now, how can you sort of unpick that?
I think, it was a lot of Ian put so much work into it. He was working full time, just a volunteer at the club, and he just cared and knew me so well. Like it was always me pushing on, being like, "Can I do more? Can I do more? Can I do more?" And it was always him being like, knew me inside and out, and was like, "Yeah," and sometimes he'd be like, "No." So I think it was very much just being working together so closely, and
Yeah.
Ian just always striving to like learn more, and he always, I don't even know the amount of books he read about training programs and things like that. And he went to Henley in a 4 from Hollingworth when he was young, and yeah, I don't know, he also like would always accept help from anyone that any coach. So he's never like too proud to learn, he just anything to make us go faster and do the best we could. So, and like I was saying to you before, we were chatting about why did we come down to Hampton from Hollingworth Lake to go singles race as junior, because that's what we did. We just went all over, raced all over. Me, my mum, Ian, and Denise, his wife, just in the car on a Friday night, drove wherever, didn't do a warm up, just got in the boat, raced.
Yeah.
No such thing as a pre-paddle. And yeah, it was great. It was such great fun, great memories. Just working the way up the ranks, trying stuff, seeing if it worked. It was good
Because I
fun.
know you basically were in the junior team as a J16 and in the quadruple scull, and then you did it as a J17. It was only in your third year you came out in the single.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there was, lots of older girls there that had done the same thing, been in worked their way up the juniors, and was in the quad with them for a couple of years. They taught me loads. I really, really enjoyed those years as well. And yeah, just decided, you know what, I'll give it my best. You're doing your exams and stuff at school and just thinking, I'll do my best training and see where it puts me, and I'll be happy wherever it puts me, which is nice in the single because it's just you, isn't it? And your result, and you wear that result.
Yeah, and then a couple of years later, or was it 2 or 3 years later? I can't remember which. You were in that under 23 double with Matilda in Rotterdam, I think it was in 2016.
Yeah.
Where you took the title against the Belarusians, and one of those women you actually raced in the women's single, I think, Klimovitz.
Yeah. Yeah.
If memory served. So that was in the double. How good did that result feel?
Yeah, that was great. I mean, so in 2014 I did this under 23 singles, and then that's when I went to seniors as a spare. So that's when I started in the senior team in 2014. And then 2015 I was in the quad to qualify for Rio, and 2016. So we'd had a couple of years of learning the ropes so quick and but also to try and qualify for Rio. And it didn't work out, and we didn't manage to do it. So I think being able to, go to under 23s, see a good project through and manage to get a medal was just great. Yeah, really good fun, good opportunity.
Yeah, of course, because the Rotterdam Championships they were about a week or 10 days, a week, 2 weeks after Rio, I think.
Yeah.
That year.
Yeah.
And then in 2017, breakthrough in the seniors, that bronze medal. You said how proud you must have felt, or you did feel about that. Just talk to us about that crew and that result.
Yeah, we were all pretty new into the seniors, had done juniors under 23s together, and we were under Tomo, and just, chose one thing: we wanted to be the best at the world at in our stroke, so we wanted to be the best at the leg drive and stuff like that. So just worked so hard on, delivering what power we had together. And yeah, it was a bit rough and ready, but we managed to get a medal out of it, and it was a really cool experience and good fun again.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we kind of had a whiz through your career. So, maybe you can. No, I think just before we talk about the forthcoming season, I did wanted to ask you about the erg. How are you on the erg? Are you a 2K lady or a 5K lady, or which one's your
I think I'd say 2K. Yeah, I prefer a
2K?
2K.
And what's your 2K PB?
A 38.
Really?
6:38. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty decent. I listen on the Row Show podcast, and they kind of have they ask people their 2K scores on that. Jake Green and Lawrence Britton, and they kind of have a ladder. I don't have a ladder, but I got a sense of 38. You must be pretty pleased with 38.
It's all right. Keep trying to get it better.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the coming season. Olympic qualification, obviously the focus. But I guess before that, you've got to get in the boat.
Yeah.
So how tough's that looking at present?
I think, yeah, very tough, pretty tough. Everyone's really strong. We're lucky we've got good depth in our squad. And yeah, I think even if, no matter what boat I'm put in or if I'm the spare, I'm still going to try and make the team qualify as many boats as possible and go as fast as possible. So, yeah, I feel pretty good about any opportunity that could come up in this environment.
Yeah. One thing I was going to ask you, which I've just remembered, is that you were thinking of going to Paris as a single sculler. And I know you were looking to, put together some funds and get some support for buying a single scull.
Yeah.
What happened to that wish or that desire? And did you ever get the funds together? Did you ever get your boat?
Yeah, I was really lucky with the support, and so grateful to anyone that helped me. Yeah, managed to get a second-hand Empacher, so that's good. Got a boat again. I only owned a boat when I was in I sold it to get my first car, so it's nice to be able to have a boat again. Really need it. But yeah, I think, like I said, any opportunity that came my way, if I was a single this year, I'd put my best foot forward and love it, and be excited to get that to go fast.
And is there any sense at the moment, do you have any sense of what boats are the priority boats, or is that something you've not talked about as a group yet?
I don't know. I think anything can change throughout the season, and I think, like you said, at the moment, just trying to get your own ranking up nationally and throughout trials and all the way through to May kind of time. We're all just trying to do our best, show our best, and keep injury free and training hard.
Yeah. And do you know what races you'll be doing this season?
I think the first one's Euros and Bled. I think. I'm really terrible at these things. I kind of just go with the flow, if I'm honest. It sounds really bad, but I don't bother looking too far ahead until I've done the job in the first place.
So the Europeans, that sounds like a likely first look for you. And I guess you guys will be looking to race at Lucerne.
Yes, and I think we've only got one other World Cup. It's very similar to last season.
It doesn't sound like there's much room for Henley in that program.
I don't know.
Have you won at Henley? I was going to ask. Oh no, have you won at Henley, Jess?
Yeah.
What have you won there? I was going to ask, what's your record at Henley?
I think I've won the quad 3 times.
Whoa.
I did it in my single once and got beaten, and it took me 10 minutes to get down the course.
Oh, how old were you when you did it? How old were you when you did the Princess Grace?
Yeah, it was like when I was doing my A levels. I just finished my A level exams, I think, and it took me so long to get down. I was losing all the way. It was a long race. It was just before the under 23s in my single.
Yeah.
It's against Mel Wilson. I got silver in Rio in the 8, and we were just having a nice chat before and a nice chat afterwards. So it was a nice experience. She's a lovely lady. Just the race was a bit long against I think it was like really strong stream and a headwind.
Yeah. And looking further ahead, have you given yourself, I'm going to be rowing until Paris and then I'm going to look to the next chapter of my life? Or is there any sense that you might look to mix it up and do engineering and rowing again for another Olympiad?
I don't know. I think it's very much like what I learned from the last Olympiad, like not sacrificing my happiness or my mental health or anything like that. Just like making sure I'm happy and what I'm doing, and if I'm not, then change it up. And I'm very, very happy at the moment. Rowing, really enjoying rowing, really enjoying. Feels like equal opportunities. Like if you're fast enough, you'll make it, and if you're not, you won't. So that's the kind of environment that I want to be a part of, and I like being a part of again. So that I definitely can see myself rowing for the foreseeable. But I also love the opportunity to keep doing my engineering because I just love it. So I feel quite lucky.
I think that's a great spot to pause the live part of this video, Jess. I have to say it's been fantastic talking to you. Thank you so much for sharing things. Oh, and and for tackling some of those challenging questions as well.
No, thank you for having me. It's been good fun.
Okay, bye everyone. See you soon.